Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Monday, if it could be a happy Monday. I hope you're having one. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia live on X Spaces for the final segment of each show. I didn't hear a beer crack. I'm sure it happened, but I didn't hear it.
It did.
Syracuse with an 8. Joe's having some technical difficulties this evening, so we'll all just have to bear with him. As we always do, but this time it's technical difficulties. Syracuse with an 83-63 win over a semi-wounded but I think relevant Oregon Duck team yesterday afternoon. Officially a quad 2 win as of now, but I think, like we talk, that's a good one to keep an eye on going into the season, see where the Ducks land. So Syracuse, we'll let you know what we think. We'll hear from you in fan feedback as well. And Syracuse will host the Purple Eagles of Niagara, still currently being helmed by the Greg Paulus. And I had forgotten about that. He basically renewed the rivalry in, 2 years ago or something like that, right?
Yeah,
something like that. I think we've 2019. We played him in 2019 with Greg Paulus, in 2020 with Greg Paulus. So back a few years later, and they'll try it again. So we'll let you know a little bit about Niagara before we head off, and just some quick football news, as there is always apparently, and a day doesn't end in Y without something like that happening.
No, I mean, come on.
So, look, I'm loving it. I am.
Early signing day is Wednesday, man.
Early signing day is Wednesday. Kyle McCord committed over the weekend, Ohio State transfer. And
big news.
Yeah, that's a big one, right? And Yazid Haynes, Zed, from Georgia, and
second Georgia receiver. Yeah.
Yep. So, shoring some things up and in that department, and there's more. Joe's. I don't know why he didn't go to Twitter. Well, we're not in the news breaking business. It seems like if you want it, you go to Twitter, you can get it. You ain't getting it from us, because we're just getting it from someone else anyway.
Right.
But on Facebook, yeah,
people who are doing their jobs tell us.
Right, and basically Facebook is, the news comes a little slower, so it makes sense to post a lot of that there. But Joe, if you've been keeping up with it, you've been off today. I've been working, and after the nor'easter rolled through here, in the window and door business, you can only imagine what a Monday would be like after such a storm, by the way. And that was brutal. It went all the way up. I know Syracuse is getting it. So big ass storm. Big ass storm. Rained for almost 24 hours here. Pretty damn close. 22 hours. Started at 11 yesterday. It quit at 9 this morning. So it made a mess, amongst other things. So anyways, Joe was off today. Joe, get us all up to date on what's happened in the past 24 hours as far as Syracuse recruits go.
So obviously we know Fran Brown had 2 weekends of official visits before early signing day. And obviously first weekend was a hit. Had a bunch of people sign. And this weekend we had 20 plus, I believe, transfers in players from this recruiting class. And yesterday we had linebacker transfer James Hurd Jr. from West Virginia. He committed And he was, I believe he redshirted last year as a freshman. So he's got 4 years eligibility. And he was last year, he was a top 250 prospect. So I think we got a good guy there. Also, Caden Brown, one of New York's top edge prospects from Erasmus Hall in New York City.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yep. He committed. And then today, we know we heard of Fadim Diggs, right? Because he's a 4-star transfer defensive lineman.
The first big one.
He was one of the first. No, he hasn't committed yet, right? So he was a 4-star that went in the transfer portal.
Yeah,
and he basically he's going to be, I believe, choosing between Alabama and Syracuse, which is stuff that you just don't hear a lot. And he visited Alabama. And then he came up and visited Syracuse with his brother, who is a 3-star linebacker, I believe, in this recruiting cycle.
According to Syracuse.com, he was a 4-star too. His brother.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, he might have been, but either way, Fatim Diggs, his brother in the recruiting class, the freshman coming into the recruiting class, still in high school. He committed today, and also I want to say that there was one more that was actually a couple hours ago. I think it was a safety from the University of Buffalo that is transferring in, and he committed as well. Devin Grant, safety, committed. So... yeah, dude. I mean, it's been a lot of things that you don't hear, like the starting quarterback from Ohio State transfers, and I mean, look, he sold me in his presser, and he's proving that he can at least do the things that he could do, and one of the reasons why he came here. So these guys are. What's
a Kyle McCord get for incentive to come here? Other than Fran Brown's a cool guy.
Well, I mean, obviously, Kyle McCord grew up in Jersey, and then I think he played in Pennsylvania as far as high school football. And he started for Ohio State, who only lost to Michigan this year. But from what I understand, he wasn't guaranteed the starting spot next year. He's got 1 year eligibility, and as you know, Ohio State brings in probably a 5-star quarterback every year. Plus, with the NIL, I mean, they got a slew of, quarterbacks that they can, bring in. So I think just the fact that he didn't want to be stuck in a quarterback room where he might not be able to start his last season because they couldn't guarantee it, I think that's why he decided to go somewhere else. I don't think that it's really to say on his play, you know what I mean? It's not like he's not a good quarterback. I mean, he did.
No, that's not what I'd be alluding to. I mean, I know from what I do know, since the bell's been ringing about him possibly coming to Syracuse, that he's he's worthy. By all means, this would be a huge get for Syracuse to get this type of quarterback, right? This is the kind of quarterback that Syracuse has been missing for years and years and years, right? And to be a real, true pocket-style quarterback. And, with that said, if what Fran Brown is building and selling is just that enticing to other players, or if there is NIL deals in the works, obviously there's something, but what and to what extent are we going to? And if so, how much is left out of that kitty? Because, it seems like, if you're playing DraftKings, man, you're almost out of money.
That's what it would seem like, right? But again, that's what a really good recruiter, a couple good recruiters that, they recruit based upon relationships, and they've been out there. And so these kids that are out there in high school, they know these guys. And that's what a new excitement can do. And you start seeing some of the chips fall, and players want to be involved in that, and they're talking to each other. And I mean, you see how many players from New Jersey are committing there and transferring there. So right now it's contagious. And sometimes, it's like, okay, that NIL, that stuff will come. Let's all come together and figure it out. So right now it's contagious, but obviously now you need to go out there and you need to play well and perform well. And then next year, I mean, it's probably going to be a situation where now people are going to want to get compensated, right? So I think his popularity and the popularity of the coaching staff and the fact that they're young, they're energetic, they know how to recruit. They can get the young guys there. Okay, this year, I just got this job. Let's go. Let's use the momentum. But at some point, again, it's going to come down to we need to retain these players. So I think this gives us a year buffer. Let him go out there and recruit his full recruiting class for next year, and then we'll see where we go from there.
It's not for anything. It is national recognition, and you talk about it's contagious. Well, it only takes one or two decommits out of Georgia to show interest, or
State, Pitt,
Yazid,
Texas A&M. It's like usually those are the teams that get our guys and they flip our guys.
Right.
And here we are 2 days away, and we have according to 247 Sports, we have the 15th ranked transfer class right now.
Yeah.
Our Dino Babers, his recruiting class was up around high 50s, 60s before he left. We had 5 decommits, and then since then, now it's jumped to 47, 46. We're in the top 50. So, national pundits are talking about us. ESPN, Paul Feinbaum, they're talking about us.
That's where I was going. I mean, you talk about, you got those guys, but you got, Barstool has been heavy on all things Fran Brown, and Barstool is that. I feel like they're way more relatable to talk about someone who was getting NIL going before NIL was NIL. That Barstool as a company, they were on that shit a minute ago. You know what I'm saying? So, to have Portnoy's group out there reporting almost every day about what Syracuse football is doing with Fran Brown is another, that's another sign of, I think, where this is headed. And not only that, but I think it's enticing to these young guys to get that name, talking about them in Syracuse. I think it just makes it all that more attractive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is all these guys are the Northeast Jersey guys. And I mean, dude, Jersey is a place where all the Notre Dames, Ohio States, Alabama, that's a place where they send recruiters up there because they know that there's a little bit of a hot spot there. If there's a place in the Northeast you're talking Pennsylvania, you're talking New Jersey. And we've just been killing it in New Jersey. I think that running back that we flipped from Pittsburgh is a great running back. And, I don't remember ever being this excited about recruiting for Syracuse football since I've actually gotten into recruiting for Syracuse football.
Hold on a second. Tyler just sent me something via. Are we done with that? We've pretty much covered that, right?
Well, yeah. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the bowl game.
That's okay. Well, I'm transitioning to the bowl game right now.
Okay.
So, let me just see something real quick. So, unfortunately, our guy will not be able to participate in the bowl game because our guy being Garrett Schrader, he had rotator cuff surgery. He suffered a tear in the first play of the Virginia Tech game.
Yep.
So, instead of that's not going to get better, and there's no point in even going out there and playing a decoy at this point, as far as that goes, right? So he had surgery. He's not going to play. He played his last game in an orange uniform. And first of all, in the 2 years he was here, and with all of the injuries and things like that, and the adversity and all that, and just the character he showed as that 3 years went on to now, to be able to, first of all, to go out there and play like that, as much as you can, to an extent, is just, we talk about Eric Dungy being a warrior. I mean, that's warrior mentality right there. And I'm gonna miss him. I was gonna miss him anyway because he was already going, but I was hoping to get to maybe see him. But of course, I had my reservations about what exactly was going on. So he sent me this clip. I haven't listened to this clip, but let's just take a listen to it, like super quick, Joe. See if I can pull it up.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just relax and just support those guys. That's all we can do. It's everything we do is to go out there and try to win. And you best believe we put our best foot forward every single week when we step on the field. And it's not easy to win there, but it's been an incredible opportunity that I had, and it's changed my life for the better. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just
okay. Well, he went on to say, it's not in that clip, it's just in here in the writing. He added that the players are not aware of the 7-5 mandate for Dino to keep his job. So there's some tidbits in there, and this is Stephen Fanti over is that Cuse Sports Talk, I believe.
Yeah.
So you can go at Stephen Fanti 9 NC9
Fanti.
and Fanti NC9. So anyways,
yeah, and some of that's telling too, because that was right off of the Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State, boom, 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 and then we go to.
Well, you remember
Tech.
he got pummeled against Clemson, and we thought that there was probably something there too.
But then, Virginia Tech and Boston College were the two. So I mean, I think that has a little bit to do with getting blown out at Virginia Tech, and then obviously, Boston College play that game, right? So I think that was the game that Carlos Del Rio Wilson started. So, or was that Georgia Tech? One of the two. But either way.
Anyway, he's not going to be playing in the Boca Raton Bowl.
Yep,
so there's that. Unfortunate.
Yeah. And I think our transfer portal has gotten up to like around 15 or something like that. From what I understood, I mean, the other big thing is Carlos Del Rio Wilson. I know that he shared a picture on Instagram with him with a full leg cast.
Yeah, he's not playing. Davis is going to start.
And Emily Liker, she shared the depth chart for the bowl game on Twitter, and it had Braden Davis is the number one quarterback with
Luke McPhail.
I don't know. Yeah, McPhail behind him, and then obviously everything else on offense status quo. Defense, I did notice that
Jobity.
Is it Jobity?
Yeah, didn't he take a spot? And so did.
Oh yeah, no. I mean Terry Lockett and Leon Lowry are not in the depth chart.
Yeah.
So those are the two transfers that stuck out that aren't going to be playing and aren't on that depth chart. And also, from what I understand, Jason Beck is not going to be coaching the game. Offensive line coach Mike Lynch is going to be calling the plays. So, but good for Garrett though. Garrett, he also, just so you know, too, he released a statement on Twitter, and he was basically saying that he thanked Syracuse, he thanked everybody, and he basically was talking about how he pushed through and didn't have surgery early to get the team to a bowl game. So just to give you a little bit about his character, I don't know if anyone's ever questioned it. I know we haven't, but I mean, that man, he could have got surgery, after that Virginia Tech game and could have gotten probably better faster. I don't think there's any way he's going to be ready for, I don't know if he would have anyway, but for any type of, trying to get into the NFL or anything like that. But, just the fact that he came back from that elbow and that he tore his rotator cuff and played through that. And then the way that he played that game at Wake Forest, the way he threw the ball with that. It's just
well, now we know why.
And he did it for his team, man. And that's why you could tell that going back now in his post game, in hindsight now, in his post game presser against Wake Forest, when he was, holding back tears and getting emotional, it's because, I mean, there's probably a little bit of, good and bad, right? He was probably happy and for his teammates and happy that he, did what he needed to do to get those guys a bowl game, also knowing that he wasn't going to be playing in the bowl game, and now he's got to deal with that, right? So, gonna miss that dude.
Yeah, it's too bad. And be honest with you, I kind of had I had a sinking feeling we weren't going to see him. And I don't think it was. I think we all knew he probably needed some kind of surgery or something. Like, we just didn't know. We assumed for the longest time that it was still his elbow. Yeah. And so, obviously with the throwing motion and things like that, it seemed like maybe it could be different. And, in hindsight, obviously it's easy to sit here and be like, yeah, well, that makes sense now because those throws didn't go anywhere. Right. Some of them, but you get juiced up for the last game and all of a sudden you're like, well, what the hell? What the hell was that? I don't know. But anyway, he won't be there. The Syracuse Niagara game moved up to 5:00 to make sure that thing is buttoned up by 8 on Thursday. So, we'll be back to talk about it. I don't know. The bowl game stuff is gonna. I think this bowl game is gonna be fun to watch. Braden Davis is out there, and we're gonna get to see LeQuinn again. And I think everybody in their normal spot, right? And we're not gonna be playing this trickery stuff. And I'm hoping that enough time has been spent at practice and knowing what we know now. I think, and the coaches knew before that the plan was to get these guys prepared for this game, and they had plenty of time to do it. So I'm hoping to see something fun and exciting. There's something about the bowl games that is lackluster when they don't mean much anymore. I mean, they don't mean as much as they used to, type thing. It's almost like a preseason, like, find out type scrimmage game to some extent. So
it's a little bit of that, but I wouldn't be surprised if, it says Braden Davis, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a lot of what we have been seeing, right? And maybe Villari throwing a little bit more.
What would stop Villari from just? I mean, look, I get it. I'm not going to question.
If we were lining up and doing that against ACC teams, I think we could do it against South Florida. I mean, and that's not to disparage South Florida. It's just, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. So
they're going to go out there. They're going to want to send the seniors out there, out on a good foot, good note. And then hopefully it comes down to trying to retain some of these guys, because from what I understand, there's a pretty good push to try to get Marlowe and Aronde, and I got a lot of these guys to stay. I don't know if Justin Barron's got a year or not, so I know we're losing some guys, but it'd be incredible, right? If we could, Aronde, it might make sense for him.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't
pocket passer quarterback that came in and he's coming off of surgery. Right now his draft stock's probably not great. So,
well, that's just it. I think it would behoove him to come back. It's only gonna be. It's what have you done for me lately? And he hasn't done anything lately. And I'm not talking about me, our fans. I'm talking about scouts and people out there who are lining up their draft stock. So I don't think that just declaring for the draft would be a great idea, although I don't think you'd have trouble getting to the NFL. But, one more year and with a new coach and a new quarterback. Yeah. I mean, right, exactly. But we'll see, dollar signs ring loud. And, if he's going to... If he wants to negotiate, I'm sure people are willing to have him come to the table.
Right.
And that's another advantage of having a decent NIL, which I know Orange United had a goal of 500,000, which, guys, is just, these days for 500,000 is a drop in the bucket. And I know we got more than just Orange United out there, but I'm just saying, like, I think the goal should be like 3 million. Okay. That's a goal. That's a great goal. Now, I don't know where we're at there at Orange United, but it did break the 500,000 mark fairly quick. So,
yeah,
it's promising. I try to stay in the loop on, what's going on in there and how many people are signing up and things like that. And, there's, it's quite a few people in there. I don't know, who knows what they're giving. You can do is the best, easiest way to do it is to just give $100 for the year. and then you reap some benefits, and you get in there and you get access to some of the written stuff and whatnot. And I think there's some other perks too, but voucher to the store or whatever. But anyway, all right, look.
Yeah. Well, look. Yeah. I mean, and if Marlo Wax were to stay, whew.
Well, I know that
we know he's good, but I'm wondering what his draft stock is, right? Because like Zaire Franklin was good, but he didn't get drafted until like the 6th or 7th round. Now that guy's an All-Pro. So,
right.
I mean, you never really know. I just know that there's a lot of excitement with the new coach. I hope that they win, and I hope also that we can start seeing some of those offensive linemen and defensive linemen coming in, because we've seen a lot of receivers, running backs, quarterback. I mean, Deion Sanders at Colorado had a lot of those specialty players, and he saw real quick that he needed to get a better offense and defensive line after his first year. So
I don't think it's any question to anyone that we obviously need a better offensive line. You want to talk about bringing in a Kyle McCord? If he's going to be running for his life, he ain't going to look pretty.
No, it's going to look like Tommy DeVito, right? I mean, let's be honest. It's a situation where there's kind of been a reason why the majority of our good quarterbacks in our history have been dual threat guys. I mean, all the way down from, McPherson to Graves to McNabb to Dungy to Terrell Hunt and Garrett Schrader now. I mean, the only real, successful pocket passer we really had with a decent offensive line was Ryan Nassib, and that was probably because they had an NFL offensive line coach that was the head coach that could get a decent offensive line.
Yeah.
And then we had a good offensive line Dungy's senior year, which is why DeVito looked good. Then we lost 4 out of 5 starters, and then the next year DeVito looked awful. But now he's in the NFL. So obviously, having an offensive line that can pass protect with a pocket passer is crucial, and I hope that we can definitely deal with that.
Seeing that now with him in the in the NFL, he's in the NFL, but still not getting the best protection. No offense, Joe.
Oh, I know.
How about those Bills? All right,
I get it.
Let's take a listen, see what Coach Red had to say following the game yesterday afternoon.
Well, first, I'd like to say we were very grateful for this event. It's a great event, first-class event. The venue was great. I'd like to thank our Syracuse fans for coming out. The orange was definitely there, and that's just a testament to our program, to our tradition. So very appreciative of that. I'm excited about that. They were there. They've been with us the last 2 road games, and that's what you need. But, as the game, I thought we played a really good game today. Defensively, I thought we executed a game plan. Oregon's a great offensive team. They could shoot threes, and they shot threes, but I thought we made them take tough threes. Again, rebounding. We rebounded the ball. We won the rebounding battle, so that's always good. And, just from our team, I thought our bench was huge today. I mean, I can't say enough about Quadir, Kyle Cuff, and Benny Williams, Malik Brown. Those guys came in. I mean, we scored 44 points off the bench today, so that was huge. But I was really just happy for Benny and Kyle. Hadn't really got a good rhythm the last couple of games, but they stepped right in and made huge contributions on both ends. And I think, going forward, that's what makes this team special, I think. I think we can be special. I think we can be really good. I thought our defense made a big jump today. Again, guarding on the perimeter and rebounding the basketball. So overall, it was a good game. We were very excited to be here. We played against a really, really good Oregon team. I know they're not healthy, and they're going to be really good when they get everybody back. So, but we just, I thought we played our best game so far this year on both ends of the floor. I was really impressed with our bench. I've been preaching this from when we started in July. We can go 9, 10 deep. Sometimes 11. Depending on the game and the situation. So it's always good. When you have the vision of what your team can be. Sometimes it's hard for them to see that. You got to work on that and communicate that. And when it comes to fruition, you're happy about it and excited about it. And that's what happened today. Again, I told Kyle him and Benny the last 2 weeks, keep working, and they didn't hold their head down. They came to practice every day, and they got after it. And I'm glad that they was able to help us win a game today.
Early on, Benny missed some games, missed some time. How close is he to being the player that you think he can be?
I think he's doing it every day. He's being more consistent. So I think it's just a matter of time for him. But I think what he did today, that's good. That's a good start. That's good. Again, I don't like to put any type of limits or type of ideas about what these players can be. Just play and do what we want to do and execute and play hard, and then everything else will take care of itself.
When Quadier's playing the way he has the last couple games, who's he remind you of? Nothing that pops into my mind right now, but I know I'm very excited when he's playing like that. He helps us. He's a really, really good player. He's talented. He's just as talented as anyone that we have, in this program. And I think people, are starting to see that. I think he's growing. He's a guy that, what you call versatile. Versatile. I know some people, our Syracuse fans, they want to may say, hey, Josh Pace or whatever the case may be. I don't like doing that, but because again, he's just talented. He can do a lot of things for us, and he is.
All right, so real quick, the Syracuse gets down by 10 fairly quickly, and not real quick, but it was a slow go, and with the orange off sometime and not out there playing basketball. Looks like they were cold to say the least. Maybe the court had something to do with it. Just the damn those dark courts. I think they suck. I think they're terrible. I think they need to get rid of them. I think they're distracting. They're hard to watch. But look, 44 points off from the bench, and is that a coincidence? I doubt it. It just a two. You got Quadier Copeland. Enough just can't be said about him for the past two games he's put together. And we talked last time we were here about a week ago about, okay, can they be consistent? Can they keep doing this? And, Starling had a quiet 14 points, so you got these two guys in Starling and Copeland, who had 15 off the bench and just doing what he does. I thought it was amazing. He had 5 assists, man. Some of his, he had a couple no-look, shovel passes down low. I think Malik Brown got them both, actually. But I don't know, man. It just seems to me like he knows how to play as a team, and he's talented enough to do those things himself. Benny Williams kind of breaking out of his shell finally in this game, and there's a lot of question marks for me still surrounding Benny Williams. But he had an amazing reverse dunk thing when it was like quick thinking, because he realized he couldn't get to do what he was trying to do, whatever it was. Right. And he went for that, and it was beautiful. And that type of basketball, it's exactly what we need. And over 40 points in the paint. When was the last time you had over 40? Huh?
We had 50.
Was it 50? Okay, because I lost.
According to ESPN,
I lost count in the paint at 46 or 44, something like that. And I was like, all right, well, that's why I said over 40, because I wasn't sure exactly how many it was. Which should be another box score stat. That is something that's easy to look up. But anyway, okay, let's just say over 40. Over 40 in the paint and over 40 points off the bench. When was the last time a Syracuse team did that? Has a Syracuse team ever done that? I have no idea.
No idea.
That's tremendous, and that just goes to show what this is building into. And Cuff, we haven't heard a lot from him off the bench. He comes in, makes like a quick 8 points, and gets this team back into the game in the first half. If it weren't for him, and when you stick Quadier out there too off the bench, you saw those things start to change. And again, sometimes, in a game like this where things are moving kind of slow and both teams are kind of off, and you send a Copeland out there, it's just he sends the trajectory of the pace of the game and the energy to another level, another dimension sometimes, and it's just hard to keep up with it. And then once Judah got going, That got Judah going eventually. And then, the last 8 minutes of the first half was, you could see kind of where the game was going to be going. But all in all, slow start. But when everybody got clicking and doing their own thing, playing like a team, they took off. And it was just, the second half was all Syracuse momentum. I mean, it wasn't even close. And, you could kind of take a deep breath, I think, after the first half. But the second half was fun to watch. And I know Oregon's kind of wounded. I think they had 3 of their 5 starters out. But I think it's a good team. And, to beat them by 20 still is tremendous. I mean, to just blow them out in a neutral arena by 20, I think says a lot about this team. And no bad losses, Joe. A quad 2 win now. And we just got to see what this looks like after Niagara. After Thursday, another, 9 days off, right? Something like that. Yeah. So another break in between. And I'm not sure if that's real good for Syracuse or what, but, with the slow start that we saw today, and it's going to be heading, obviously into some conference play, but I don't know. I was happy with it, in the 20 points. I think was huge, regardless of the guys that weren't there for Oregon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and so just to clarify too, only one player in the starting. So Oregon played Georgia the first game of the season, and 4 out of those 5 starters did not play in that game. And their best player is a center, Dante. Then they talked about it. So again, I mean, this is definitely not a full squad as far as Oregon goes. They're playing a lot of younger guys and some transfers that haven't really had this role earlier in the season. So to that point, kind of got to give Oregon a little bit of a break there. But yeah, you like to see him go out and you get the lead, and we were up 8 going into halftime. And the one thing I've always been worried about, in the past is, okay, how is the other team going to make the halftime adjustments to the 2-3 zone? And we weren't always the better team that came out of halftime after halftime, coaching adjustments and stuff like that. But the one thing that I've noticed with this team is that I feel like we've been the better team coming out of halftime. So to have the lead and then come out and then play that much, because we've been going into the small historic, however many, 11 games that Adrian Autry's coached, we have come out with better intensity and better defense in the second half. So to have an 8-point lead go into the first half, or into the halftime, I was obviously excited about that. And then obviously, it was an ugly game. Both teams had 19 turnovers. It was pretty sloppy.
But how many did Syracuse have in the second half? Because I felt like that got cleaned up. But it was terrible in the first half.
I mean, there was a stretch in the second half where, we had a good lead and it got a little sloppy because we were trying to be
fancy,
a little too fancy, get out on fast breaks and get dunks and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, pretty much everything you said, when the team that you're playing against is down the top 2 centers, then you should be dominating the rebounds and the points in the paint, and we took advantage of that. And we had more assists. We played more like a team. Benny Williams, it was nice to see him out there smiling. He went 4 for 4. He didn't take
pumped up too.
Didn't take an outside shot, right? He was down there banging, trying to get rebounds and getting easy buckets. 8 points with 2 steals, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. So. And he didn't really make a lot of mistakes. Kyle Cuff Jr., he went in there and played well. So, I think that you're starting to see it kind of, play itself out. But obviously it doesn't matter whether or not you're the starter or not, because, Malik Brown and Benny Williams and Copeland all played more.
Copeland had 32 minutes.
Yeah. Bell had 12, McLeod had 14, Taylor had 18. Benny Williams had 18. Benny Williams had the same amount as Taylor. And Malik Brown and Copeland had more minutes than, the other 3. So this is the testament of, our depth, what we can throw at another team.
Well, you've always said it doesn't matter who starts the game.
No, never does. No. And I don't know if that's a confidence thing, then see what happens. But there's no doubt in my mind that this team, they pass the ball better, they move the ball better with Quadir Copeland in the lineup. It's almost like he's a damn shot of adrenaline.
He sends it to another dimension sometimes. I mean, and it's not just everybody else with the ball handling, but I mean, he's got significantly good ball handling too. I mean, he does a very good job. And
and he can guard a 3.
Yeah.
You can play a JJ, a Judah, and a Quadir. And realistically, your defense gets better. It's just the outside shooting. If you're moving the ball and you're driving and you're doing a nice little spin move like there's not too many people that are going to be able to guard that spin move that he pulled off yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, that was sick. That not easy to do. And he's done a couple of things the last couple of days or games that is like, okay, he's starting to figure it out. It's starting to slow down for him. You know, you saw little spurts last year where, you know, he showed that, but then he'd be out of control and even a little bit this year. But as the game's starting to slow down and he's making a lot of good decisions and he's making a lot of big plays. You know, almost had a double-double. I know that the announcers were making a big deal about that near the end.
Yeah.
9 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, a block with 15 points. He went 5 of 6 from the free throw line with only 2 turnovers.
He had 2 great opportunities for getting that double-double on the rebounding side in the last minute of the game. But, you know, it is what it is. It's nice to see. He knew it, too. I mean, Quadir knew it. He was trying like hell to get it. So,
so, I mean, we took advantage of a little bit of, you know, a wounded duck, so to speak. And, I mean, but still, I mean, you got to think about it. 20 points. I mean, yeah, Oregon, they definitely are missing some of their players, but they lost 2 games this year, 1 by 6, 1 by 8. So to go out there and to win that in a neutral court, dude, it's a good win. And again, we're status quo, right? Like
we haven't
lost the games we shouldn't have, and you know we lost three games to 3 ranked teams. But then you know when we started, we didn't know. Remember when we got back from Maui and we were like, we still don't know really how good we are. Like we played with them for a little while, but we don't know how good we are, right? And we had to have a 24-point comeback to beat Colgate, so we really didn't know. And then there was Chaminade, and then LSU hit, and then we won by 23, and we're like, damn, right? But then Virginia hit, and they beat us by 22. So it was like, well, what team are we? And so we worried. We worried going into Cornell. We worried at Georgetown. We worried about Oregon. But, I mean, you take away these 3 ranked teams and you look at a team like LSU, Oregon, Georgetown. Those are all teams that are in – I mean, the Big East is essentially considered, you know, there's Power 5 in football or there's Power 6 in basketball.
Right.
Big East is thrown in there, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look at the other 3 games that we played Power 6 teams, and I don't know how good they're going to be in their conference, but, you know, we beat LSU by 23. We beat Georgetown by 12 at Georgetown, and we beat Niagara not Niagara, or Oregon on a neutral court by 20. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think we're a top 25 team yet, but
I think this is a tournament team.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we might not be a top 25 team right now, but we're not far out.
No.
So
they just got their game that they play. They know what they're good at. And I think, of course, always you've got to try to hit those outside shots. I think that's what Bell does. I think that's what he offers big time. But the inside game is Syracuse's game. What Judah does is magical. It's a tremendous skill, and he's very good at it. Some days it's going to work, some days it's not. And when it's not, if Judah can't hit, then it's just going to be a quiet night for Judah. Someone else is going to have to step up. It's just
right.
It is what it is. But here's the difference, though. I really genuinely feel like with this team, someone will, because we have already seen it.
Right.
So it's not a one-trick pony anymore. I think that I think that we're just the talent is spreading out a little bit more than it's been.
Well, and they're learning how to play with each other, moving
they're
without
still
the
young.
ball, knowing what other people are going to do, right? And
Well, you saw that with some of Quadir's passes. I think even Benny had a couple good passes. Like just in general, you could tell that they were on the same page. It's hard to stop that.
Well, and two, also, I mean, there's been not trying to bang on like the last couple of years or whatever, but I mean, how many times did we talk about when we had teams where it was like there was no penetration, there was no guard penetration, it was all outside shots, jumpers, play good defense, and that stuff. It's difficult. Like when you want to be a good team, when you look at like when it comes to the NCAA tournament, March Madness, all that stuff. Guard play is huge. And you see teams that they have guards that they take it to the hole, they finish, they go to the free throw line. You know what I mean? We didn't have that. And then last year with Judah, we did, but there was obviously some things that went on with that. And now when you look at this year, it's like, okay, we only shot 5 of 13 from the three. We didn't force any. And I mean, Bell and Taylor, they took a couple, but it was taking us at the hole. When you have Quadir on the floor, you have Judah, JJ, and Quadir that can take it to the hole and they can actually finish, which makes people, and they can beat their guy off the dribble. And so now that means someone's going to step up. And now the big guys, they're like, oh, crap, I can move and get the ball. Like before, it was like, oh, I'm going to set a screen, maybe go get a rebound, right? But now you got guys and some plays where there was a couple plays where Quadir could have dropped it off to Benny, could have dropped it off to Malik. They both would have got the same result. And it's because those guys can penetrate and then they can force the defense to change. It's a different kind of offense that we've seen in a long time. And we have the talent to actually do that. And it makes basketball a lot easier when you can do that. And thankfully, we got 3 guys that can do that and finish. And JJ, the last couple of games, has been, very, very impressive. Judah, we know even if he's got an off night, shooting, scoring, finishing, he'll get his. He's still going to go to the free throw line. And like I said, Quadir Copeland, he's like a budding star. And then when you see the defense, too. I mean, Quadir Copeland's defense, the way Judah's playing defense. Malik Brown
yeah.
Balls out again. Like, I mean, that defense, there's a reason why Malik Brown and Quadir played that many minutes. Because that defense with that group of people and then subbing people out and just keep throwing waves at you with that tough defense, I mean, that tires teams out. You saw that point guard, Shelstad. I mean, he had a pretty good first half. And second half, he looked worn out.
That whole team looked worn out.
Yeah. And it's because we kept going. 17 fast break points. I mean, it looks like, I'm not saying that it's the same type of talent, but this looks like a
late 80s, early 90s type Syracuse
like
basketball.
The teams that I saw, yes.
Yeah, teams we grew up with. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's the closest thing I think we've had, and it's I wouldn't want to be dramatic about it. I think we need to see how it plays out. Those teams were conference champion contenders at the very least. So, I'm a little, let's just say, cautiously optimistic about going into conference play, and I guess I'm just always apprehensive and nervous about it, but I feel like out of the past, few years, I have a little bit more faith in this, and knowing that it's going to be Judah's last year in Orange, I think that, it's kind of what's that?
He came back to make the tournament.
Yeah, I think they're a tournament team. I think as long as they stay healthy and they keep doing what they're doing, we're gonna make the tournament. And
I still think they need to figure out some stuff because there's going to be some teams in the Big East that Malik Brown's not going to be able to play center for 26 minutes. So
you mean the ACC? Yeah.
There's still. Did I say?
You said Big East.
Oh, geez, it's still there. Yeah, no. I mean, there's still some things, right? But at the same time, like, we do not have. Like our floor is still climbing. You know what I mean? Like we're growing every game, and you're seeing confidence from different players in every game. To where you said, Autry's going to be able to find that damn, that combination. Okay, Chris Bell didn't play that great, didn't play that many minutes. There's still going to be games where he comes out and he plays 24 minutes and scores 22 points because he's on fire, right? Like Kyle Cuff doing all these things. I mean, I'm just excited at the growth. I'm excited to be able to see a new, different type of basketball with a new coach and a team that's one of the younger teams in the country just grow. And, I mean, we've seen it already from that game. The last couple games I've seen versus what we saw in the beginning of the year. To me, it's night and day.
It's already growing.
Figure out roles. They're starting to figure out how to play defense and offense together, and it's exciting.
Well, here's the thing. Say this and we'll move on. But we always talk about the beginning of the year. It's going to be interesting to see this team grow, and my pivot point for growth is usually, maybe a quarter to halfway through the ACC play, and here we are, not even in conference play, full-blown conference play yet, and I feel like we've already seen it. So it's just...
You got to allow it to happen, though, too, right?
Yeah, but we haven't, though, seen it the past couple years.
No, when you're just locked in a 7-man rotation, no matter how they play.
Right. So, anyways, with that said, I think what we've seen as far as results in the teamwork and the growth and all of that goes, I think is already on the table. And like you said, we're still not at our ceiling. We're just continually getting better.
We're not at our floor.
No, hell no. No, but I don't think I don't think we get to the floor.
If we're not at our floor, then we're damn sure not at the ceiling yet.
Yeah, well, I don't think we were even at our floor at the beginning of the year.
Well, no.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the floor is an option right now, especially if everybody stays healthy, obviously. All right, it's time to hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, you guys know what to do. At the end of every game, I ask for your thoughts on that game. You leave them on the Facebook and the Twitter, and we talk about them. I've been threatened that the Facebook is going to be non-existent, but I have yet to still see anything happen. It's either all talk or all BS or a scam. One of those three things is true. All right, let's see. I'm starting on Twitter here. I haven't seen some of this, but all right, here we go. At Breaking Orange 44, Brown has the best hands in the ACC. Cope is playing 6th man of the year. That's I'm buying all that. That's great. We haven't even talked about the 6th man of the year stuff, but I mean, he's playing that level, don't you think, Joe? I mean, what he's doing in the past two, if he could keep putting the games together the way he's done the past two, and then he's been fringy the whole season, but the past 2 games he's been amazing. So,
yeah.
At JTA, this would be J Tart 2021. First 10 feel like middle school game during recess. The rest of the way was chemistry and smiles. Nice to see Benny engage. Quadir on fire. Yeah, it was good to see. I noted that was one of the biggest things I noticed for me watching that game in Benny's 18 minutes out on the court was that he was, we just talked not too long ago about his body language, and obviously I feel like that was a complete turnaround from what we saw when he sat on the bench the whole game. And I don't even remember what game that was. Was that Georgetown? I think it was Georgetown. So for that, was it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay. But what a difference from that to what we saw, with him actually on the court and, making plays and getting hyped up and screaming and just, you love to see it. And, whatever weird deal is going on there. And, for coach to come back and say, he didn't play him because he wanted to play the guys that he thinks can help win the game. That's an old Boeheim move, just not holding back, letting it all out there to media and everybody else who wants to listen, just airing some of the dirty laundry. And, sometimes we always talked about coach using that as motivation for the guys, or coach hoping that the guys use that as motivation. But it seems like something there is getting better, and I just hope that it continues because it's good to see.
No, yeah. And I mean, Jesse, top fan. Facebook. Then again, a lot of these, are kind of circling back on stuff that we talked about. But he said, love the defensive intensity and how much we scored at the rim and the free throw line. Glad for Cope. He will continue to get better with more reps. Best body language of the year from Benny.
Yeah, it's good. So, it's for everybody to take notice, they have to take notice of what was going on before the game. But for everybody to take notice, then to notice the improvement is always, that's good. At Adam Eldridge 2, it feels like Copeland gained a year of maturity over the last 2 games. He hasn't been making the mistakes we've seen him make earlier this year. Hope the team saw today is a team that could continue to grow and not regress. Very impressed for the first time this year. Well, I agree with some of that, but I've been impressed this year. I thought the Georgetown game was impressive. I thought
the LSU game was impressive.
I did too, but I mean, where's LSU right now?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, we could check.
I thought a 24-point comeback was impressive.
That was quite impressive, actually.
But I mean, you never should be in that position because 3/4 of the game wasn't impressive, right? So,
well,
there's been spurts.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, LSU is 6-5 right now, and they got they did play Texas, who's 19th, but Kansas State. And they've lost 2 games since us, Kansas State and Texas. So, I mean, I just don't know how good they are. Yeah, I mean, good teams that they're playing, but I just don't know how good they are just in general. And those games were the Kansas State game was not really close, 75-60, but Texas was 96-85. And we don't know. I didn't watch the game, obviously, so who knows? Nadal on Twitter, our buddy. Today was a good day for Syracuse, he says. Yes, absolutely. I know there's a lot of hype about football right now. I do know that some fans have Syracuse basketball kind of lost in the mix early in the season right now.
Right.
But some of it's justifiable, but this is a team to get excited about too. Like, I know there's a lot of exciting things going on with Syracuse football, and all of that's great. But this is a team that I think we could all rally around and get excited about and enjoy Judah while he's here, because obviously it's going to be it. Let's see. At Will F. 22,000. What a great game. Quadir is the spark plug. Amazing overall day for our athletic department. Yeah, this was a long one. It was a good day for the athletic department, wasn't it? That was the Kyle McCord day, correct? So.
Oh, yeah. It was overall, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that goes down to news too, right? Because there's no comments like that on Facebook about, great day for Syracuse and kind of combining our blowout win with a Kyle McCord commit.
Not to say everybody on Facebook isn't on Twitter, right? But if you are on Facebook and not on Twitter, then that's what you're missing, because it just doesn't come as fast. And no. I don't know, there's the whole dynamic's different, but that's where everybody gets breaking news from politics to sports to just everything. Anything and everything that's where everybody gets their.
Because on Facebook, there's a lot of the same thing. Beginning wasn't very promising, but thankfully they got their heads in the game. Not the cleanest game, but eventually dominated Oregon. Great game by Copeland. Just stuff like that. Chuck Allen, Copeland was awesome. JJ and Mintz did what they should. Great seeing Benny excited and happy as well as contributing. Bell and Taylor struggled, in my opinion, and McLeod doesn't deserve the start over Brown.
Well, I thought is some of the criticism I've given McLeod over the past, I don't know, the whole year so far. I thought that he wasn't terrible. He just reminds me a lot of Chukwu. When he used to call Chukwu stone hands. Like, he's just like, dude, grab and hold the ball. Like, stop losing the ball. That's like, just secure the damn rebound. You know what I mean? Like, if
and then when he gets the ball, it seems like he's like very
confused, frazzled,
confused and frantic.
Yes,
like make the, he puts, if he's going to shoot, he already knows he's going to shoot. He turns and just kind of throws it up there.
Isn't that Chukwu-esque though? All of that.
Yeah. I mean, he's still trying to learn how to use his body, how to use
the size.
Yeah.
But with that said, this is a dude who's, I think he's like tied for the tallest player in the country right now. Jeez. He's tied for the tallest player in the country right now, I think. And, like you said, you just got to come into his own. That's why he wasn't starting at Florida State, but I think he will. I mean, with that said, I know he only got 14 minutes, but, he grabbed 8 rebounds in those 14 minutes. He just didn't score a ton. He's got 3 points, right? But he did hit 2 foul shots, too. Didn't he? No, all of his points came from the foul line. 3 for 4. So it's good to see a big man like that actually go to the foul line and hit foul shots too. So.
Oh yeah, yep. And to going back to Jesse's point too, because it was something that I didn't really put 2 and 2 together. Between our 50 points in the paint and the 18 points we had from the free throw line, that's 68 out of our 83 points. So again, take away the fact that Malik Brown's not going to be able to play center against every team. Every team isn't going to let us do certain things, and we're going to have to be able to hit some shots from the outside, some jump shots. That's 15 points out of our 83 that we got outside of the paint.
Right.
They were all threes.
At No Blanchard 44, it's a great day to be a Cuse fan. Again, like the point we were making earlier. At Oil Cuse, our buddy Captain Patrick. Copeland's spin cycle drive was awesome. Cuff was a hero in the first half, keeping us alive. Joe sucks. And is nasty AF. Merry Christmas. Sorry, I read it like I was not reading ahead. It caught me off guard. I'm sorry. 2 great points though. Joe, you alluded to the what Captain Pack calls the spin cycle drive, which was amazing, right? But Cuff coming in the first half and doing what he did with the 8 points to get Syracuse back into the game after being down by like 10 was, it was like a switch was flipped. So that's really
something
good to
about watching somebody that small dunk too is just awesome.
How about Judah's dunk?
Well, Judah's dunk was nice.
The lob.
Benny's was nice. Yeah, but Kyle Cuff is like 5'8". He's a gear height. He's going up there. Yeah.
Is he really?
I don't know.
He's not. It made me feel tall for a second. At David Super, the good, the bench in their energy, 20 of the 33 first half points, 44 for the game. Cuff 3-pointer provides the spark after a terrible start. The bad, 19 turnovers, got to clean that shit up in the ACC games. The ugly starters.
He's not 6'2".
You don't think he is?
It says he is. Must be true.
Well, I don't know. You know how they do that though.
Yeah.
Starters: Chris Bell, Justin Taylor, and McLeod. 1 field goal made. He's got the little shit emoji here. Niagara, then Pitt. So, yeah. Look, the good news is there's so many guys playing significant minutes that they don't all have to be perfect. And it kind of goes back to Coach's point when he was talking about J.J. Starling a couple weeks ago, right? Or a couple games ago, when he said, not every game is going to be a perfect game. And you're going to go out there and be the star. It's just not going to happen. But Bell's had his moments this year. Justin Taylor's he's shined a little bit this year. And McLeod, he's the one. I would still say that, he's still figuring it out. It's fair to say. But when he does, look, we remember Jesse Edwards too. Remember when Jesse Edwards like, dude, he's got the frame. He just needs to bulk up. Like, he just needs to be stronger.
Thought we weren't going to bring him up anymore.
He never really.
As this team grows, it just makes me more and more upset.
I know, because what could be. But my point is that he never really filled out the way we thought he could, based on how big that he looked like he could, based on the size of his frame. But he did get stronger. Like, he was just stronger. He just got stronger with the ball. And when he did, it completely changed his play and his confidence. That was the beginning of the Jesse that we know now, the one that left us for a bunch of money and went to West Virginia. That Jesse.
Hey, look, I don't hate on him.
Me either. That was totally, completely, 100% avoidable. What'd you say?
Yeah. I said I hate on the people that could have retained him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyways,
Weitzman's money. Nice, huh?
Yeah, right.
We don't want to go back there, though.
No, I'm done.
Mark on Facebook. This is a good point. Hopefully they realize, and this is something we talked about. Hopefully they realize all the passing is what helped them get going and stay ahead. Great win and something to build off.
Yeah. And
again, I think that is directly into, I did see Judah Mintz, making a concerted effort to pass the ball off a little bit more and stuff like that. But Quitter Copeland, man, as soon as he got in, it was almost like the movement was just way better, him and Malik. So,
yeah, no, it's good. It's visually different from last year for sure. At Saltine Warrior 4, things are on their way up. This team is playing great defense, getting contributions from seemingly everywhere besides center and Taylor, although I think he has a bright future. Seeing glimpses of Taylor, though, like I've said, he came through. Wasn't it the Colgate game? Was it Colgate?
No, he definitely hit some good. He came through in one game, but also, he's been kind of the main guy down there, trying to get rebounds and doing those kind of things, because there was a point where rebounds didn't look so great. So, he's doing the things that the coaches are asking him to do, and hopefully he can get his shot going. But again, we can't be a team that just sits back and relies on 3-point shots.
You can't stand around on offense either. He says fun to watch in transition, sharing the ball, and most importantly, having fun. You talked about being stagnant on offense as far as just this ISO stuff, and it was the complete opposite of that yesterday. And that's what can happen. At Cuse Hoops 97, not Judah's best, but still won by 20. Starting to see the depth, only going to get better if Chance gets healthy. Yeah, that's another thing to add into the mix. Now, I'm not going to be one that relies on that, especially for just the simple fact that I think it's going to take a while for him. He's not going to, I could be totally wrong, been wrong before, but he might, take some time to get acclimated in, where you set your expectations is where you set your disappointment as well. So, it's going to take some time, but I think, when we see him this year, it's going to be pretty awesome. The whole thing's going to be awesome, I think. I got really good feeling about how this ends up.
Like I said, there's still some things there, right?
Yeah, of course. There's always going to be.
The center position, and obviously being able to shoot threes. Because obviously we know our best 3-point shooters aren't necessarily our best defenders, and not every team that we play is going to let us get 50 points in the paint and go score 18 points from the free throw line. So as you go up in competition, then those teams can kind of dictate where you push the ball, where you go, things like that. So far so good as far as some of these other, and like I said, these are tweener, Power 5-6 teams. So it's nice to see us win games that And we haven't been winning in the past couple of years, so definitely a change. But there's still a lot of things that need to be fixed for sure.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll get a couple more days to rest up, and then Syracuse is going to host Niagara.
I got a couple for you, though.
Go. Okay, go ahead. I was going to transition, but you're not. So go ahead.
Well, top fan Robert Gaffredo.
Oh.
His comment was basically 56% from the field, though.
Yeah, it was rough in the beginning. It was really bad. That's what did it.
The beginning was awful, and we still ended up with that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, that was a good thing. Top fan. Top fan Michael Mastrolio. And this is a good one that you'll have a comment for this, but it was a good one. The only thing that confuses me is I wonder why the two worst players in our rotation continue to start. I would assume I don't have to name them as we are all watching the same games.
Well,
who do you think he's talking about?
Well, I think we all know. I think they've been referenced before, and like I said, guys like McLeod. You don't? I got to imagine it's McLeod and Taylor. I mean, if I'm guessing.
I mean, Taylor played more than Bell, so I just didn't know.
But Bell has had some games though. Like he's had some days. And Justin Taylor really hasn't. I mean, Bell has. He's done enough, I think, to where he has a game like this, and you're just like, okay, well, I mean, he just didn't have a great game.
Yeah,
it just wasn't his day. And he had guys come in and step up for him.
Well, and the problem I think with that is that I mean, there's only a specific amount of teams that you can get away with a Judah, JJ, Quadier, and Chris Bell lineup, right? With a Malik Brown as well. Because now you're going really small, and if you're playing against a team that's got a legit center and a legit power forward, that's not going to work. I see what he's going for in theory, because there are teams out there that go small with a 6'8", 6'9" center that Malik Brown can handle, but not every game's going to be like that, So, we're going to have to rely on Naheem, and we're going to have to rely on some other players that are going to have to come in and play, and they're going to have big days. And, hopefully they can just figure out their role and they can learn and they can grow. They keep giving Naheem chances. You can see the players, trying to get them all pumped up and showing them signs. Quadier was out there showing them how to get position, show your hand so that, you give a good target for the passer to go.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of time. He just hasn't had that type of role. But
no, he's been in the back seat. Now he's starting.
And like you said with Jesse, same thing. At some point, a switch flipped, and he knew what he was doing. And all of a sudden, he was kind of an animal, and he knew he couldn't be stopped. So hopefully, he can get to that confidence level.
It's that. That's what I was going to say. It's confidence. Once you start doing it,
repetition.
Yeah, once you start doing it, and you know how big you are, and you are able to
see the ball go through the basket.
Yeah, yeah. You can hang on to the damn thing. You're not nervous out there. I mean, he looks nervous.
I mean, honestly, he can palm it and just hold it up and straight up in the air. No one's going to come and mess with him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm keeping my powder dry on whether but.
I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Hopeful.
I'm hopeful. We'll see. Okay, let's move on. Syracuse is going to host Niagara this Thursday at 5. It's going to be before the bowl game, so we're going to get a Thursday evening chock full of Syracuse sports. And, Joe's taking Friday off, and I just was thinking to myself when he told me that today, I'm like, damn, man, because I took the 26th off, which is the Tuesday, the Tuesday after Christmas. I could have had me a nice 5-day freaking weekend, which would have been awesome. awesome. But, well, I screwed that one up.
So I got paid vacation on Monday and Tuesday, and I was like, let me take this Friday. That'll be nice.
Yeah, I've got I can roll over a week, so I'm not like pressed to use PTO because I can roll 40 over if I want.
I can roll over 80. That's the problem.
You have more than 80?
Yeah, I got 120 right now.
Oh, well, yeah, you need to take some vacation.
Yeah. You think?
Yeah, I do think. The all-time series between the Orange and the Purple Eagles sits at 55-28 in favor of the Orange. What a dumb name, by the way. Syracuse is currently on a 10-game win streak dating back all the way to 1976, but they've won 16 out of the last 17. So last game, 2020, Syracuse wins that game 75-45. Gerard, Richmond, Dolerzai, Gary Aaron, Griffin, you're starting 5. Guerrier with 23 points, 13 rebounds, and Dolerzai with 10 rebounds. The Syracuse Orangemen and the Niagara Purple Eagles first met in 1910 with the Purple Eagles winning handily 30-20, folks. The Orangemen would quickly reverse that, winning the next 8 games and 12 of the next 13. Both of these little tidbits, according to orangehoops.org, the two teams had played most every season since 1933 until 1982. The series ended as the Orangemen rose to prominence in the Big East. The two teams would not meet again for 18 years until 2000. In Syracuse, like I mentioned, they've won the last 10 games in the series. So, kind of a renewed old rivalry, being that Paulus was CBA, right? He went to CBA. And it was a guard at Duke, came to Syracuse in like 08, 09-ish to quarterback for a year. And, I think that's obviously what started some of this. So he's been coach over there for a minute too, by the way. So this will be closing out our non-conference schedule as we talked about. And we're going to take, I think, 9 days off before we play Pitt. Niagara sits at 3-6 right now. They've got a game tomorrow night against Binghamton, I believe. And so, you want watch that barn burner if you want to get a good glimpse of what's going on with Niagara. I don't know what channel that would be on. But anyway, you got Amon Henderson, who is leading them in points per game with 14.3. He's also leading with, who's the other one here? The 2 3-point shooters. Henderson, Bumbala and Henderson Henderson are your 3-point shooters. Okay, so Henderson the second with 14 and Bumbala with 13, and they are shooting. Both of them are shooting decently, respectively. I mean, 33% and 33%. So there you go. Then you got some guys that are backing these guys up. Now these guys got some eclectic names, man. I'm not going to lie. Okay. Oh, just I'm kind of pussyfooting around the whole pronouncing all of this stuff, but anyway, do what?
But I didn't know comedy was coming at the end, but keep going.
Ya Obeng Masa, 6'7" forward. He's averaging 11 points a game. Braxton Bayless, he's averaging 9.7 points a game, and Harlan O'Bawa is averaging 9 points a game. He's a 7-foot forward. As a team, they're shooting 48% from the field, 75% from the free throw line, and 37% from three. So, look, it's Niagara. I expect to have coaches got one more game to kind of play around with and see what works. Maybe give McLeod a little bit of extra time out there and see if he can get his footing and, just one more game to play around a little bit. I'm not real threatened by this team and them being 3-6 already. They've got wins against St. Francis, Buffalo State, and what is this, New Jersey IT? Is that what that is? What is that?
Buffalo State's like a D2 school or D3 school too. So
yeah, and they lost to Notre Dame by only 7, believe it or not. First game of the year.
They lost to St. Bonaventure by 34.
Lost to St. Peter's by 5. That was where old boy was from, right? Remember his name? The mustache guy, the one that slapped or Judah slapped last year. Anyway, the hell was that dude's name? How do I forget this? Doug
Ebert.
So, anyways, Not a real threat, in my opinion. Should be a fun game to watch. A nice primer for, some Syracuse football. Joe, what do you think?
They're 327 in Ken Palm. So, this is where it's at.
I guess I could have started and ended with that. Yeah.
Look, we know that Paulus is going to have him playing tough and all that stuff, but obviously, we're going to be all right. That's, I don't have, you talked about everything that's got going on. So, I don't really see them as a threat.
I must have had some extra time on my hands at one point to go even that far with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, losing the games they've lost, and look at their competition. Obviously at Notre Dame, I don't know how good Notre Dame is this year. They still should have been able to beat them by more than 7 at, home. But, nonetheless, I think we're riding high. We have confidence. We have the depth.
Notre Dame stinks this year, by the way. Yeah, and Georgetown beat them in overtime. So last Saturday.
Well, just to give you guys a heads up too, if you do want to watch
Niagara and Binghamton,
the Niagara Purple Eagles, aka Fake Animal, versus the Binghamton Bearcats. It's going to be on ESPN Plus tomorrow.
It's 2 fake animals going at it. I'm just kidding. Bearcat's a real thing, isn't it?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
No. Wait. Yeah. Number one, you could kind of scout Niagara to see what's going on with that, but also 2, Binghamton is where Samir Torrance transferred. So, and Samir Torrance is currently leading Binghamton. They're 6-4, and he's leading them in assists and rebounds. So, if you want to go back and watch the next Syracuse guy play against the next opponent, then it's going to be on ESPN Plus tomorrow at 6:07 is what ESPN is saying. So
a Bearcat is a real thing, and you'd be surprised to know that it kind of looks like a mix between a bear and a cat.
Get out of here!
I'm serious. This is the thing.
Leech.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hold on. Maybe we're the fools. Maybe there is a purple eagle. Maybe it's egg on our faces, Joe, for not knowing what the hell the deal is. Although I highly doubt there's a purple eagle. All right. Look, that's it, guys. I don't got nothing else. It's another drawn out long show for no reason. And I'm here for it, I guess. I thank you for being here for it. Sorry, no fan feedback or no spaces today. We'll hit the spaces up here pretty soon when we don't have to talk for an hour before we go there. So we will be back as soon as we can. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.